everybody, welcome back to another fun and exciting pre-calculus class. Today we will be continuing in chapter number 11. This lesson is found on page 2, well it starts on page 217, 11.6, the straight line equation forms. If you remember in the last few videos, I've been showing you how the line can be written in different equations. So you can have slope intercept, you can have standard form, and really I've kind of only talked about those two to this point. So let's go ahead and look down here at the screen and in your book on page 217, and you're going to see there are several different types or forms of the line. So the equations that we've been talking about, the slope intercept form, okay, the point slope form, you might remember that one from algebra 1, algebra 2. The 2-point, okay, that's the one that we've been using quite a bit recently. And then there's the intercept form. The intercept form is basically like standard form. The only difference between this and standard form is that you get the constant to reduce down to a 1. So whatever you get, you just divide it by whatever the constant is, you divide it by that to give yourself 1. You'll see what I mean here in just a minute. Then a line that's parallel to the y-axis is x equals x1, and then one that is parallel to the y-axis is y equals y1. You'll see what all that means here in just a moment. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page to 218. 218, got some different stuff going on here. Find the equation of a line having a slope of 5 and an intercept of 2. So really kind of the idea here is, okay, what one makes the most sense? Well, in this one, it's just put it into slope intercept form. Now, sometimes they're going to tell you what form you have to have the equation in, what form your answer needs to be in. Other times, you're just going to put it in the easiest one for you. So let's go ahead and look down here. And it says, find the equation of the line having a slope of 5 and a y-intercept of 0, 2. So all we need to do is write, so the slope is 5, so m equals 5, and our intercept, our y-intercept, or our b equals 2. Just think about this. Think about how easy this one, y equals mx plus b, right? So we just put that into there, and we just put that into there, and we're done. So y equals 5x plus 2, and we're done with that one. Don't you wish all pre-calculus was like that question right there? That would be great, but it's not. I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and do the next one. It is in your book. We're still on page 218. Example number 2. Find the equation of a line having an x-intercept 6, 0 and a y-intercept of 0, 12. So now we have a little bit different information. One thing that's true in most of this is you can always, like, from this information right here, I could find the slope if I wanted to. I could just put it into y-intercept form by finding the slope. But to save a little bit of time, we can put this in what's called intercept form. So let's go ahead and go back here to our book, and let's look back on page 217, and let's see what we can find out about what's called intercept form. Okay, so this is the one where it's basically like standard form, except for we need to get this to be a 1. So let's go ahead and just plug in the information that we have to the little formula. So basically we want x over a plus y over b is going to equal 1. All right, so what is our x and what is our y? Well, our x in this case, our x-intercept is 6. So here, where the a is, we're just going to write x over 6, and then plus y over, and then the y-intercept was 12, and then that equals 1. Ta-da! All right, still just telling you it's really, really easy. Now, let's change this into some different formats, if you will. let's take this equation of the line and let's turn this one into, let's turn it into y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Let's try that. So this is our constant over here. So this is going to turn into our y-intercept. It's not the y-intercept yet. It doesn't equal b yet because we're going to have to do some things to it. You'll see what I mean here in just a second. So one thing that I want to do is I really want to get rid of these fractions right now because this doesn't have any fractions in it. I mean, it can, but it doesn't in its standard form. So if I multiply everything by 12, watch what happens here. Okay, and some of you that know this stuff, you're like, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen. Yeah, you're going to eliminate your fractions. So look here, I get 2x. Okay, here I get plus y, because the 12s just cancel out, and I get equals 12. Again, I'm looking for y equals mx plus b format, so I just want to take this whole thing over here. So subtract 2y from both sides, and I want to get y equals negative 2x plus 12. And I'm done. So there I'm back into, there's my m. So my m in this case is going to equal negative 2. My y-intercept is going to equal 12. We knew that from right here, right? We knew that the y-intercept equaled 12 because they told us right here in the problem. But just shifting it over to y equals mx plus b format, that's kind of how it works. And that's kind of the order that you would take to do that. You can shift these into any form that you want. I could put that into point slope. I could put that into just any number of different formats. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Again, we're back on page 218. This is example number 3. Find the intercepts of this line. All right, so this is the one where the easiest way to find the intercepts is to put it into intercept form, right? And you might say, I think this is in intercept form. No, not yet. Okay, and why not? Because it's equal to 24. So really all we need to do to this one to at least get it started is we need to get this divided by 24. We need to turn this into a 1. Okay, intercept form always has to equal 1. Okay, going back to your book on page 217, you see where the intercept form always equals 1. You might even want to write that down next to it, right? So you come back over here and you look down here and you might want to write next to this intercept form right here that always has to equal 1, okay, or must equal 1. It's very important. Now, if you're kind of thinking like in trigonometry, you might be thinking, I know we have some identities that equal 1. Well, that's exactly right. And what you're going to see is there's going to be kind of getting something equal to 1 is very important in trig, in calculus. And so anytime we can get something equal to 1, that is a win. Because now we're going to be able to say, okay, well, if that equals 1, then it must also be equal to this other thing. Okay, so getting it equal to 1, very important. So make sure that you remember that the intercept form is always equal to 1. So let's come back over here and let's try to continue this problem. So we know that if we divide one thing by 24, we have to divide everything by 24. Okay, so this one's going to cancel and that's going to give us a 1. And then we'll just reduce this. So we're going to get a minus 1 over 8. And then we'll reduce the x and we'll get a 1 over 6. So 1 over 6. This is the x term. This is the y term. Now, this is fine for me. I'm okay with that because I know what you're doing right there. But probably the better format is to kind of match it how they did and then actually do this math. So let's pretend like that's a fraction. It doesn't really matter how you write that, but 1 times x is x, 6 times 1 is 6, and then minus 1 times y is y, and 8 times 1 is 8, and that equals 1. So then this here would be our intercept form. Now, the cool thing about intercept form is as soon as we get it into intercept form, we know that the x-intercept is 6. So the x-intercept, and then the way that you would write that is, so x is the 6, right? So you get 6 comma 0, and then the y-intercept is going to be, now be careful here, we have a negative sign. So that negative sign right there gives us 0 comma negative 8 would be the correct answer there. So pay attention to that sign. If the sign is negative, then the answer is negative. If the sign is positive, then the answer is positive. Notice there's no sign here, so that means it's positive. If you have a sign there, then you must attach the sign to the number. Okay? And really, to be honest with you, I wish I could kind of make up more stuff in this lesson, but that's all that this lesson has. This is the world's shortest pre-calculus lesson. But there's so much more. I mean, the lesson has more in it. And by saying the lesson has more in it, I mean there's more for you to kind of understand and grasp. And it really goes back to this chart on 217. You have to understand how to work through these different forms. But I feel like you're at a point where you should be able to seamlessly go through those different things. I would, if I was you, I would basically memorize this information right here. Anything on page 217 in this chart right here, this is information that you need to memorize. You need to know slope intercept form. I think you're past that. You need to know point slope form. Again, you should be past that. You should know that. 2-point form, this is the form that we've been using. So like when they give you 2 points, how do you find the slope? I think you know that one. We've been practicing with it. The intercept form is probably the newest one for you. So just make sure that that always equals 1. And then these two, the parallel lines. So is it parallel to the x, parallel to the y? That's how you would write that. Those are all very important things for you to know going forward in this pre-calculus class. Okay? Again, that's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed. If you missed anything, make sure to slide it back, watch it again. And that's it. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.